Space, the final frontier. It beckons us with its beauty, a tapestry of stars and galaxies scattered across the vast cosmic canvas. But this allure of the unknown hides a stark and unforgiving reality. Beyond the protective embrace of our pale blue dot, the universe offers no sanctuary. Each celestial body, from scorching stars to frigid gas giants, presents a unique and often terrifying path to oblivion. What would happen if you, a solitary traveler, dared to venture unprotected onto these alien worlds? Today, we embark on a morbid yet strangely captivating journey through our solar system. We'll explore the chilling ways each planet would claim your fragile life, a stark reminder of the delicate balance that makes our existence on Earth possible. Before we begin, subscribe for more content about the universe. The Sun, the heart of our solar system, a churning inferno that bathes our planet in light and life-giving energy. But don't let its distant warmth fool you. Getting up close and personal with the Sun is a one-way ticket to oblivion. Imagine for a moment you're aboard a spaceship, foolishly attempting to reach the Sun's surface. At a distance of 1 million kilometers, far beyond the orbit of Mercury, the Sun's relentless radiation would begin to cook you alive. Your spacesuit, your only barrier against the vacuum of space, would become your own personal oven, baking you from the outside in. As you press on, reaching 100,000 kilometers from the Sun, things take a turn for the truly bizarre. The heat is so intense that the very atoms of your suit, your spaceship, even your own body would begin to break down. You wouldn't burn in the conventional sense. You'd evaporate, your physical form dissolving into the superheated plasma that surrounds the Sun. But let's say, hypothetically, you had a suit capable of withstanding these unimaginable conditions. You reach the Sun's surface, a roiling ocean of fire stretching as far as the eye can see. The temperature here is a mind-boggling 5,500 degrees Celsius, hot enough to instantly vaporize you. You wouldn't even have time to scream, to feel the agonizing pain as your body is ripped apart at the atomic level, becoming one with the very star you so foolishly attempted to conquer. The Sun, for all its life-giving energy, serves as a stark reminder of the raw, untamed power that permeates the universe. It is a force of creation, yes, but also one of unimaginable destruction, a celestial furnace that tolerates no trespassers. Next, we venture to Mercury, the smallest planet in our solar system and the closest to the Sun. This tiny world, often lost in the Sun's glare, offers a unique kind of double jeopardy when it comes to a gruesome demise. Picture this. You find yourself standing on Mercury's desolate, cratered surface. The Sun, a monstrous orb dominating the sky, beats down with an intensity far greater than anything we experience on Earth. The daytime temperature here soars to an unbearable 430 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. You wouldn't burst into flames. You'd bake from the inside out, your internal organs slowly shutting down as the heat overloads your system. But here's the catch. Mercury has virtually no atmosphere to speak of. This means there's no insulation, no blanket to hold in the heat once the sun sets. And when it sets, the temperature plummets to a bone-chilling minus 180 degrees Celsius. That's right, in a matter of hours, you'd go from being slow-roasted to flash-frozen, your body locked in a macabre dance between extreme heat and cold. But wait, there's more. Mercury's lack of atmosphere also means you'd be completely exposed to the full brunt of the sun's radiation. Without the protective layers that shield us here on Earth, deadly cosmic rays would bombard your body, shredding your DNA and causing rapid cellular degeneration. So, while Mercury might seem like a small, insignificant world, it packs a powerful punch when it comes to ways to kill you. It's a stark reminder that even in the vastness of space, death can come in the most unexpected and unpleasant forms. Chapter 3. Venus, a toxic pressure cooker. Venus, our next stop, has often been called Earth's sister planet. Similar in size and composition, it might seem like a promising candidate for future exploration. But don't let that fool you. Venus is a prime example of a planetary gone wrong, a toxic hellscape that would extinguish human life in the blink of an eye. Imagine descending through Venus's thick, swirling atmosphere. The air is heavy, suffocating, pressing down on you with a force 92 times greater than Earth's atmospheric pressure. It's the equivalent of being submerged over 3,000 feet beneath the ocean's surface. Your eardrums would rupture instantly, your lungs would collapse, and your bones would begin to buckle under the immense pressure. But the pressure is the least of your worries. Venus boasts an average surface temperature of 475 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. This isn't just any heat, it's a stifling, all-encompassing heat that would cook you from the inside out. You wouldn't burn, not in the traditional sense. You'd bake, your flesh slowly turning to jerky as the intense heat robbed your body of moisture. And then there's the atmosphere itself. Forget about breathable air. Venus's atmosphere is a toxic cocktail of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid. Imagine breathing in air so thick and heavy it feels like you're drowning, all the while being choked by the acrid stench of rotten eggs. The sulfuric acid would react with the water in your lungs, creating a burning sensation that would make every breath a living hell. Venus, the supposed goddess of love, is a stark reminder that beauty can be deceiving, especially in the vast and unforgiving expanse of space. Chapter 4. Earth, a familiar demise. Ah, Earth. Our home, our haven. The only planet we know of that harbors life. I think we're all pretty familiar with the ways things can go wrong here. So, let's move on, shall we? Our first stop takes us to our rusty red neighbor Mars. Now Mars gets a lot of hype as a potential second home for humanity. It's the planet we've studied the most, the one we've sent the most robots to, and the one that seems, at least on the surface, the most hospitable. But don't let those pretty pictures from the rovers fool you. Mars is a cold, unforgiving desert, and it wants you dead just as much as any other planet in our solar system. First and foremost, let's talk about the air, or lack thereof. You see, the Martian atmosphere is incredibly thin, about 1% the density of Earth's. And it's not just thin, it's also the wrong flavor for us humans. Instead of the life-giving nitrogen and oxygen we're used to breathing here on Earth, Mars is mostly carbon dioxide, with a sprinkle of other gases we really don't want in our lungs. What does that mean for you? Well, take one step onto the Martian surface without a spacesuit, and you'd be gasping for your last breath in a matter of seconds. But let's say, hypothetically, you had some magical device that instantly teleported you to Mars with an oxygen mask strapped to your face. Crisis averted, right? Wrong. You see, the Martian atmosphere isn't just unbreathable, it's also terrifyingly thin. And that lack of atmospheric pressure has some pretty gruesome consequences for the human body. Here on Earth, we're comfortably nestled under a blanket of air that exerts a certain amount of pressure on us, keeps our insides, well, inside. But on Mars, with almost no atmospheric pressure to hold things together, your blood would literally start to boil. Not a rolling boil, mind you, but a slow, insidious simmer. And it wouldn't just be your blood. Your bodily fluids would join the party too. Imagine your eyes bulging, your skin blistering, all while your insides are doing the slow bubble. Not a pretty picture, is it? And if the suffocating atmosphere and boiling blood weren't enough to deter you from booking a one-way ticket to Mars, let's talk about the temperature. Mars is, to put it mildly, freezing cold. I'm talking an average surface temperature of about minus 60 degrees Celsius or minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit for you Earthlings. But hey, at least there's one upside to this whole Martian death trap. Because of that thin atmosphere, sound doesn't travel as well on Mars. Next on our cosmic road trip of doom, we're heading deeper into our solar system to meet the big boys Jupiter and Saturn, the gas giants. Now, unlike Mars, these two behemoths don't even pretend to be hospitable. They're giant balls of swirling gas with no solid surface to speak of, and they're both home to some of the most extreme weather conditions in our solar system. Let's start with Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. Imagine this. You're free-falling towards Jupiter, the magnificent bands of swirling clouds growing larger and larger. You might think you'd just float harmlessly through these clouds, but you'd be wrong. Dead wrong. You see, Jupiter's atmosphere is incredibly dense. As you fall deeper, the pressure would increase dramatically, crushing you from all sides. It would be like having 1,000 elephants standing on your chest, except instead of elephants, it's just the immense weight of Jupiter's atmosphere. But it's not just the pressure that's a problem. Jupiter is also home to monstrous storms, some bigger than the entire Earth. These storms are like hurricanes on steroids, with winds whipping around at hundreds of miles per hour. And if the pressure and the wind don't get you, the lightning will. Jupiter's lightning storms are thousands of times more powerful than anything we experience here on Earth. You'd be fried to a crisp before you even knew what hit you. Now let's move on to Saturn, the ringed beauty of our solar system. Saturn shares many similarities with Jupiter. It's a gas giant with no solid surface, and it has a similarly crushing atmosphere. However, Saturn's atmosphere is less dense than Jupiter's, so you wouldn't be crushed quite as quickly. But don't let that lull you into a false sense of security. Saturn has another trick up its sleeve: supersonic winds. These winds can reach speeds of over 1,000 miles per hour, which is faster than the speed of sound on Earth. Chapter 3. Uranus and Neptune, the icy giants of death. Hold on to your hats, space cadets, because our next stop takes us to the outer reaches of our solar system, where we meet the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. These two planets are cold, dark, and incredibly hostile to life as we know it. Prepare yourselves, because things are about to get really, really chilly. First up is Uranus, the tilted giant. Now Uranus is often overlooked, overshadowed by its larger, more flamboyant siblings. But don't let that fool you. Uranus is a fascinating and terrifying planet in its own right. For starters, Uranus holds the record for the coldest planetary atmosphere in our solar system, with temperatures plummeting to a bone-chilling minus 224 degrees Celsius. That's colder than a witch's. Well, you get the idea. But the cold is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Uranus's atmosphere is also composed primarily of hydrogen and helium, but it also contains a significant amount of methane. And methane, my friends, is not something you want to be breathing in large quantities. It's flammable, it's toxic, and it's what gives Uranus its distinctive blue-green hue. In other words, it's a recipe for disaster. And as if the freezing temperatures and toxic atmosphere weren't bad enough, Uranus also has a crushing gravitational force. Now, it's not as strong as Jupiter's or Saturn's, but it's still strong enough to crush you like a bug if you were foolish enough to venture too close. Next, we have Neptune, the ruler of the outer solar system. Neptune is similar to Uranus in many ways. It's an ice giant with a thick atmosphere composed mostly of hydrogen, helium, and methane. But Neptune is a much more dynamic and violent planet than its calmer, colder sibling. Neptune is home to the fastest winds in our solar system, with speeds reaching a mind-boggling 2,100 kilometers per hour. That's over 1,300 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, the strongest tornadoes on Earth only reach speeds of about 300 miles per hour. So yeah, Neptune's winds would tear you apart like a wet paper bag. And if by some miracle you managed to survive the supersonic winds, you'd still have to contend with Neptune's extreme cold and pressure. Like Uranus, Neptune is incredibly cold, with temperatures dropping to minus 214 degrees Celsius, and its atmospheric pressure is also incredibly high, strong enough to crush you like a grape. But hey, here's a fun fact about Neptune to lighten the mood. Did you know that Neptune has massive storms that are the size of Earth? Chapter 4. Pluto, a frozen outpost of doom. And finally, we arrive at the dwarf planet Pluto, once considered the 9th planet of our solar system. Now, I know Pluto's demotion to dwarf planet status was a bit of a sore subject for some people, but let's be honest, Pluto was always the odd one out. It's tiny, it's icy, and it hangs out in the Kuiper Belt, a region of icy bodies beyond Neptune. But just because Pluto is small and far away doesn't mean it's not dangerous. In fact, Pluto is a frozen wasteland that would kill you just as quickly as any of the other planets on our list. For starters, Pluto is incredibly cold. I'm talking surface temperatures of minus 230 degrees Celsius, which is colder than liquid nitrogen. You'd freeze solid in an instant, your body turning brittle and cracking like a dropped ice cube. But the cold isn't the only thing you'd have to worry about on Pluto. Its atmosphere is also incredibly thin, about 100,000 times thinner than Earth's. In fact, it's so thin that it's practically non-existent. So even if you could survive the freezing temperatures, you'd still suffocate in an instant because there's simply not enough air to breathe. And if the cold and the lack of air don't get you, the low atmospheric pressure will. Chapter 5. The Final Frontier. A universe of deadly beauty. So there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the deadly secrets lurking within our solar system. From the suffocating embrace of Mars to the crushing gravity of Jupiter and the supersonic winds of Neptune, our cosmic backyard is a veritable minefield of deadly hazards. But hey, that's the beauty and terror of space exploration, isn't it? It reminds us just how precious and fragile life is, and how much we still have to learn about the universe we live in. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think is the worst way to die in space? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing content about the universe.